So welcome back, campers. Happy to have you here. I think you all learned a lot last night from Claudia, the wise one. Wait, where's my, oh, I don't have it. Anyway, tonight we have a really special session that's going to be moderated by Pat Lehman, and it's about other branch programs. I used to belong to an organization that was called CASE, C-A-S-E. And it stood for Council for Advancement and Support of Education. But we all called it Copy and Steal Everything. And we did. We learned from each other. So I'm introducing Pat Lehman. And Pat joined the Seaside branch in 1994. She was program vice president. She was president. She moved to Wallowa, and she was still president in Seaside, and she commuted to Seaside, and if you know where Joseph is in Wallowa, quite a few miles. And then she, of course, had to start an AAUW branch in Wallowa. So she's served as a lot of different things, state membership vice president a couple of times, program vice president. She was on the national membership committee. But here's the interesting thing about Pat. She grew up in Canada, and she lived in France for 3 years. Now, I got this hat in Canada. I didn't wear it to France, but anyway. She was a journalist, a translator, an educator, but what I thought was really interesting about Pat, ooh, hair hat, was that she lived and taught for 3 years on a Wisconsin Indian reservation. So now you know some new things about Pat. Take it away, Pat Lehman, and show us some great examples of branch programs.
Yes, thank you, Pat. That was a lovely introduction. I want to express enormous thanks to our terrific camp staff, Pat and Nancy, for putting together a really amazing collection of sessions that are relevant and interesting and fun. And I want to thank also our branch presidents who gave, when Sue and I talked with them, gave us the ideas that formed the basis of these sessions that you are participating in. And I want to also thank all of you who have stepped up to lead presentations. Haven't the presentations been great so far? Wow. You know, I've been to every one and there hasn't been a weak link in the bunch. And I also want to thank all of you who have taken the time to show up, to participate, to ask great questions and make wonderful comments. But now bear with me for a second. There is one thing that our camp is missing. I'm sorry, camp staff. But every camp needs a bear, right? And this is Anna Bear. And Anna Bear was a gift to me from our past state president, Marty Stevens, many, many years ago. And you don't have to worry because she doesn't like popcorn, so it's perfectly fine. She's harmless. But, you know, we would never have guessed after all those years that Anna Bear would be able to go to camp. So here she is, and she's really happy to be here. So thank you. Branches are always looking for programs and other kinds of initiatives that enhance our understanding of AAUW's mission and that engage and excite our members and that give everybody involved a sense of purpose and that provide community visibility and involvement and often that bring to our branches the funds that they need to do their important work. There are lots of wonderful programs going on all over the state, even now during these difficult times. But in thinking about the session, I wanted to draw from our various districts, and I wanted to highlight 4 different areas in particular. One was, of course, our AAUW mission, especially STEM. One was community involvement and engagement. One was the inspiration that we can derive from learning about our institutional history, and of course, fun with fundraising. You'll probably think that during this current pandemic time with all its restrictions, that branches just can't go out and replicate any of these programs quite the way they've been done, except possibly for the last one that Dolores is going to tell you about. You could institute that one right away. But elements of each one could be incorporated and adapted to your situation. And ideas, I think, always generate ideas. But mostly, what I hope that you will get from this evening is inspiration of the creativity and the sheer power to do good that these branch programs will show you tonight. One quick note, a lot of branches are concerned about fundraising for their projects, and after the presentations, I will show you some tips about how your branch could hold a rewarding virtual fundraising event. So let's get started. And we'll start with Jan Perkypile of Medford branch. Jan has been an AAUW member for more than 20 years and was a named gift honoree in 2013. She's a founding member of the branch's fundraising arm board and its past treasurer. A master gardener herself and named 2008 Jackson County Gardener of the Year, Jan was a committee member and ticket coordinator for Medford branch's tremendously successful garden tour that probably many of you have attended. And if you've never met a dog musher, here is your chance. Jan is one. When Medford's charitable fund was looking for an event that was new and different and something that had never been done before, Jan certainly found one. So here's Jan to tell you all about the Medford AAUW Hoedown. Yeehaw!
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So yeehaw, we did have a hoedown in September 2019. I've been asked why and how I got the idea. When Yusuf was formed, that's our fundraising branch of AAUW, one of the goals was to come up with new fundraising activities that would get fundraisers off the backs of our members and get more involvement from the community. I came up with the idea of having a hoedown after floating our local river for years and seeing some hay bales out by a campfire. I always thought it'd be a great idea to have an outside event. Fast forward to 2019, early 2019, Sharon Shatswell and I discovered a new winery that opened along the river. We stopped to taste their wine and found that they had great wine. As you can see, they've gotten some awards for their wine. And we found that the facility had a covered horse arena, and the idea was born. Many outdoor events have to worry about weather. People have to go to huge costs to rent tents to provide a covered venue. The winery had a covered arena that would alleviate the concern of weather. In fact, the night of the hoedown, we ended up having a thunderstorm with a downpour, but we all stayed nice and dry. I also might mention when you have a big event, you have to take the consideration of parking for large numbers. There was a large outside area, so we didn't have a parking problem, and we had a husband and a son who directed people where to park. And when the storm came, they even had umbrellas that could accompany people to the ticket booth. We approached Jim Bear, the owner of the winery, with our idea of having a hoedown. Jim said yes to our idea. Little did we know how generous he would be. Jim donated the venue, the tables, the chairs, the tablecloths, the porta potties, and 3 of his staff to pour wine and other beverages. The original idea, there's a picture of the rainbow during our storm. The original idea morphed over time. Originally, we were just going to have a food truck and a band. But Jim Baer was good friends with the famous chef, Alan Jackson. In fact, he's a 5-star chef, who at the time owned a home in the valley. Alan Jackson agreed to cater our event. This is a picture of Alan cooking the goods for the evening. Jim Baer's mother was an active fundraiser, so Jim had been around fundraising for a long time. So he suggested a silent auction, and we decided to feature Southern Oregon wines for our silent auction. Our tickets we priced at $65. It included a Southwestern buffet by Alan Jackson, music by Highway 99, line dancing instruction, a souvenir wine glass, and glass of wine and dessert. We had 50 tickets printed. Sharon Schatzwell and Joan Rycraft were each given 15 tickets, and I had 20. The tickets were numbered, so we knew where the tickets were at. We also sold tickets on Eventbrite. However, Eventbrite charges a small fee for processing, and some people didn't want to pay that fee, so we got their $65 from them and added them to our paper list. We sold 59 tickets, paper tickets, and 85 tickets on Eventbrite. Eventbrite provided us with emails, and we also captured, as you can see on the ticket, the addresses of people that bought paper tickets. We wanted the email addresses for future events and to add the email addresses to our ongoing database that we've had ongoing with our garden tour for years. We use these email addresses to send out save the dates and information about our events. We had a separate line for paper tickets and Eventbrite tickets. When people arrived, they provided us either with their Eventbrite confirmation number or their name so we could check them off the Eventbrite list. Paper tickets holders either presented their ticket or gave us their name and we checked them off the list. Upon arrival, people were given their free glass of wine and a ticket for a free glass of wine. They also received their bid brochure along with their tax receipt. This is a copy of our poster that we hung at various places throughout the valley. Joan Rycraft and Donna Betteridge handled the PR for us. They sent out announcements to all TV stations and radio stations. There are also some local magazines who published our poster, plus did an article about our event. Sharon contacted our local newspaper, the Mail Tribune, which at the time had a weekly wine column. The editor of the column came out to the winery. She interviewed myself, Sharon, and Jim, and she wrote a great article about our event and the winery. Jim Baer also sent out his save the date to all of his wine club members and put an article about the hoedown in his newsletter that he sends out. We also distributed our bookmarks, and we put them anywhere and everywhere we went. Sharon and I actually carried them around in our purses and handed them out to anybody and everybody that would listen. Our silent auction featured Southern Oregon wines. I made a spreadsheet of all the local wineries in the valley. I put them in geographical order, the Applegate, Jacksonville, Ashland, etc. Sharon and I actually went to every single winery in the valley. The joke was Sharon and I were either going to go broke with the gas we were burning up, or we were going to go broke by buying wine tasting or a bottle of wine at the wineries. I can honestly say we were turned down by the number of wineries I can count on one hand. That's 5. And even one of them was, they said no because they didn't have enough inventory to donate anything. We visited each winery with our bookmarks, our donation letter, and our AAUW brochure, which is beautifully made by Marcia Simon, one of our members. We actually had one wine owner thank us for the donation letter because he knew we were legit. Can you believe this? He actually had someone come into the winery and ask for a donation and then discovered them later out in their car drinking the wine. The wineries donated everything from one bottle of wine to a case of wine, or wine tasting packages, or a combination of a wine tasting and wine. We also obtained donations from restaurants, rafting companies, golf clubs, dinner and drinks and a night stay and breakfast for two from the Newman Group, one night lodging and breakfast at the Rogue River Lodge, and tickets to Brit. This is just to name a few of the other items that we added to our auction. We had some members help us out who were either members of a golf club or frequented the businesses. My thanks to Sherry Schroeder, Gail Etchie, and Carol Kozak, who obtained donations for us. My apologies if I left anybody out. My goal was to procure $3,000 in items for the auction, and we ended up with over $5,000 in goods. Sharon and I grouped the items into 37 packages for the auction. Gail Etchie created her magic and decorated them all. We went to the dollar store to find containers, etc., to make up the auction items. The auction items were paid for by either cash or credit card. We had separate lines for credit card payments and cash payments. And I want to thank Patty Finch's grandson who donated the white squares to MUSIF. I also want to mention a few other things. We also decorated mason jars on each table and to collect donations, and we actually stuffed the jars beforehand so people would think, oh, somebody's giving lots of money, I'll put some in too. So it really worked out great. Highway 99 was the band we had, and they charged us half their going fee. Our line dancing instructor, Jeanette, donated her time. People had so much fun learning how to dance from her that she actually ended up with a couple more students. Joan Rycraft secured the 2 servers for us from the local senior center. And there's a picture somewhere of our server. There she is. That was one of them that served for us. Sharon and I searched the internet for plates and napkins for the best deal. You might notice in this picture here the cute little utensil trays that we have, that we wrap the utensils in the napkin. And believe it or not, we found some classy utensils at the dollar store. Joan Radcraft secured the flowers for the event, and they were donated by Penny and Lulu. There's some flowers here on that picture. As you can see, we accomplished our goals. We got the community involvement and community support. Not only that, but we raised approximately $9,000 for local scholarships. But we also gained some new members as Sharon and I visited the wineries and from women that attended the hoedown. We had a table at the hoedown highlighting AAUW, as you can see here, and we had our local brochure and other information there for people to see. Here are some of the pictures of the event so you can get kind of a feeling for the venue that we had. If you notice here, there's these cute little cutouts with the bandanas on them. The city of Central Point donated those to us to use for the night. This event took a lot of work. When the 2019 hoedown was over, Sharon and I started working on the event again. We had to find a new caterer because Ellen Jackson was no longer there, residing here in the Valley. We had to secure a new band. We secured the bakery again, and we started to look for different wine glasses. It was definitely going to cost us more money to put the 2020 hoedown on with the rising costs. After the hoedown, Sharon and I personally visited each business that donated to our auction. We gave each business a thank you letter for their donation and asked them if they would support us again in 2020. We had hoped to add corporate sponsors in 2020, and we had the packets ready to go out when we canceled the event because of COVID. Here you see a picture of people mingling around, having a good time at the event. And I think the event was a success. People had fun, and we raised some money.
Great job. Does anybody have
Yeah.
any questions?
Thank you, Dolores. That looked like a lot of fun. I would have loved to have come and done some line dancing there.
It was fun.
Yeah, that's great. And you know, you did a lot of work, but you earned a lot of profit too and supported some students. What could be better than that? So sorry that it had to be canceled, but we will look forward to next year's hoedown, right?
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, moving on, Wanda Rafferty of Baker Branch has been an AAUW member since 1972 and is a life member. She's been branch program VP, finance VP, fund chair, public policy chair, Oregon State data manager, is currently on the Special Projects Fund board, and she has been branch president 5 times. Not only that, but her ever helpful husband, Bruce, is an AAUW member as well, although don't ask him to attend meetings. Wanda will describe Baker Branch's community involvement projects, the Women's Celebration, and In Our Backyard. Wanda.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I first want to tell you about Baker City. Baker City is in a valley with the, whoops, we don't need, well, that's okay. Baker City is in a valley, and there's the Elkhorn Mountains and the Eagle Cap Mountains, and we fluctuate from about 9,600 people to 10,000 people. And we're on the interstate, and we are 300 miles on 84 from Portland. Okay. First, I'll tell you about the Women's Celebration. Baker Branch hosted the first dinner in the spring of 1988, sending invitations to all women groups, and a notice was put in the paper. We met in the basement of the St. Francis de Sales Cathedral. It was time for the attendees. It was a time for the attendees to come together, recognize their roles in enriching the community, meet each other, and welcome new women. Everyone was amazed when we had 100 women show up because we were charging them $10, and we thought that was a ridiculous price. Branch members presented the Reader's Theater entitled My Name is Alice, and we put that on another time, probably about 20 years after the first time we met. For 29 years, Baker Branch put on celebrations, skipping only 2 years. The attendance ranged from 72 people to 156, and the average was between 120 and 130. The ticket price stayed $10 for many, many, many years, and gradually was raised to $25. And when we raised it to $25, we were really worried that we wouldn't have anyone attend. Our partners through the years included business and professional women, Seroptimus, DAR, PEO, Beta Sigma Phi, Historic Baker City, Baker Garden Club, Women's Elks, and the Baker City Herald. And of course, we can't forget the downtown businesses, because for many, many years, we would have a silent auction, and they would do the donations for the silent auction. In 1993, members decided to hold the celebration each March to coincide with the Women's History Month. During the years, the money from silent auction and raffles, blind wine bottle sales, gift bags, all of the proceeds went to programs or organizations that benefit women and children. Themes for the celebrations have varied throughout the years, and the food changed from sit-down dinners that we did for many, many, many years to sample chocolates, tapas, small cakes, cookies, coffee, tea, and in the later years, a no-host wine bar. At first, there was no wines served. Okay, here are some pictures of the past women's celebration events. This one is in 2014, and we decided we wanted to find women in Baker County that we could honor. So we put up posters all around town, put information in the paper looking for local heroines, and then we ended up with 16 that we honored. Okay, next picture, please. Here is a poster that after we took down one of local heroines that we put up, and then as you can see, it was $20 for this one. Okay, next picture. Here's just a sampling of the 16 women that we honored. And they all got their little tiara, and it was a wonderful, wonderful evening. Okay, next year. Oh, excuse me. These were the tables, what the table decorations looked like for many years. And if like Dixie Driggers, she would bring her table settings, everything, and then she would also have a centerpiece that you would usually give away. And the tables were just beautiful. Okay, next one, please. The next one I want to talk about is in 2016, and we this is the flyer that we took around to all of the businesses run by women and asked them if they would like to come to the dinner and put up a display. Okay, next one, please. Then this is the poster that we put in all of the businesses. And of course, we had articles in the paper. Okay, next one. And this is just a sample. I believe it was about 16 businesses that put out displays so we could wander around in a very, very crowded room and look at what they sold. Okay, next. The last one is She's So Cool. And this is the poster that we put up around town when it was, when we wanted people to come, of course, in 2017. Next one, please. And then I have mine on, but I don't know if you can see it. And Nancy gave me a bad time about it. Okay, and Debbie is here this evening. I've seen her picture. And then just a sample of the thank you that we always put in the newspaper after we had our event. Okay, and then now I would like to read to you, if I can find it here. Oh my, here it is. This is in 1988 when the Baker branch of AAUW hosted the first women's, this is a quote, excuse me, from a member, Aletha Bonebreak. She says, in 1988, when the Baker branch of AAUW hosted the first women's dinner, along with women from other women's groups in the county, it was not with expectation that they would sit at a table, and this is in 2009, and celebrate the 20th dinner. They did not once consider the future accomplishments of the women of Baker County. They simply did what women do. They made something happen. Sometimes we just say, let's have a dinner that celebrates women, and we do. Those other gifts just happen along the way, and she's talking about the silent auction and the raffles. Okay, now that's the women's celebration. Or now we, as I said, at first it was women's dinner, and then we changed it to women's celebration. And the next program is called In Our Backyard. About 3 years ago, I heard Nita Bell's In Our Backyard, founder and executive director, speak at our AAUW Oregon Summer Retreat. In Our Backyard is a Central Oregon nonprofit established in 2009 by Nita Bells, human trafficking expert and author of, you can see the books here, In Our Backyard, Human Trafficking in America and What We Can Do to Stop It. In Our Backyard works locally in cooperation with other nonprofits, government agencies, and the law enforcement to stop human trafficking. In Our Backyard has 7 programs which work locally and nationally to prevent and eradicate human trafficking. Our members decided to bring Nita's program to Baker High School health students, parents, and community. Working with the Baker 5J School District Assistant Superintendent, high school teachers, and local newspapers, the program was planned for March 31st and April 1st. And you know what happened on March 15th. So Molly Hamez, program assistant for In Our Backyard, was to be the presenter. The flyer you see here was scheduled to go out to all high school parents, local paper, and posters in downtown. Our branch, Molly, and the school district assistant superintendent decided in late July of this year that the program will now be held in the fall of 2021. The cost to bring the program to an area is lodging and miles. There are freedom stickers that you see in rest areas put there by the state. If you ever see one, you'll know exactly what that's for. Anyone, any girl, any boy that sees it, they can call for help. Let's see. We were going to, and we will, give each of the high school students some of the stickers so they can pass them out. Of course, In Our Backyard, will always take donations. Our branch will be donating 12 books In Our Backyard, and the cost is $14.99 through In Our Backyard to area schools and public libraries. If you're interested in contacting them or just getting on their website to read all the information, I don't know if it's, there's this one that you can see, inourbackyard.org, or there's another one that is info, I-N-F-O, at inourbackyard.org. And the phone number is 541-639-5005. And we're looking forward to giving it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. That's really great. I hope you get to see the chat that Marty just shared. And yeah, it's an amazing program.
Oh, it is. It is. And I know that, Pat, you're going to talk about the Readers Theater, or do you want to just have them?
Unfortunately, we don't have time this time.
Okay.
Sorry, Wanda. Yeah, because we do need to move along, but thank you so very much. And there is another question for Jan, but we'll hold that until the end, when we'll do some wrap-up questions. So our next, whoops, I'm losing my grip here. Our next-
Pat, can I ask a quick question of Wanda? This is Linda O'Hara.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Wanda, on your women's celebration, did you change the focus on what the criterion for the women that you wanted to celebrate? I saw in a couple of the posters, it looked like you were celebrating at first women who did this or that, and then the next poster it was this and that and the other thing. I mean,
Yes.
was that intentional?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thanks. That's all I wanted to know.
Right.
You betcha.
Great. Thank you, Linda, and thanks again, Wanda. Okay, moving along. When Barbara Miner of Portland Branch took early retirement from her 25-year career as an engineer, she did not leave her experience behind. She currently works part-time at Saturday Academy, and she joined AAUW in either 2014 or 15. When I was talking with Portland Branch presidents this spring about their programs, they said, oh my, you've got to talk with Barbara. That STEM program that she directs is just amazing. So I sent her emails and didn't get an answer. And I thought, oh dear, what's going on? Well, it turned out I had the wrong email address, but when I finally connected with her and learned about the program, Girls Engaged Technology, I had to agree. And after that, I wished I were a 12-year-old Girl Scout so that I could design flashing LED jewelry. So here's Barbara to tell you about Girls Engaged Technology.
Thanks, Pat. Yes, I started this program with Saturday Academy after I retired from being an engineer for 25 years. And there are a lot of problems in the world, and I wanted to pick one that I thought I could really do some small thing. So this program has been around for 5 years. I was motivated by my lived-in experience of the lack of women in technology and complete understanding of how more diversity in the decision-making positions of our corporations would be better for society and better for the corporations. So let's see, how do we progress? Oops, can't move my slide. There we go. Overview, motivations, want to get more girls involved in high-paying jobs that are important and that they may love. I loved my career. I had a great career, and I think a lot of girls would like it, but they don't understand that it's available to them. This is a slide. AAUW has done a lot of research in this area, and they have determined 4 different reasons that women are underrepresented in STEM fields. Actually, we've made a lot of progress in science and mathematics, but technology and engineering are worse now. The representation of girls graduating from college with degrees in technology and engineering is lower than it was when I graduated in the 80s, which just is horrifying. We have about 18% of the degrees awarded in technology and engineering go to girls at the bachelor's level. 18%. All right, so stereotypes and bias, we work that by having a room full of women of all ages, girls of all ages who sit down and do programming and have a good time doing it. And we try to normalize that, right? Today we bake cookies, tomorrow we write programs. This is what girls do. We give them an experience, a positive experience, and they have some information about what kind of things you can do with a technical field. So I'll skip that one. So the goals of the program, we have multiple goals, but the first one is to provide a positive programming or engineering experience. And it's very important that it's positive. We like to count the giggles per hour, right? The girls are having a good time here. I have lots of pictures of girls having a good time while they're writing programs. So it has to be positive, they have to enjoy it, and it has to be real programming. It's not just getting the girls together and say, oh, you're so smart. They're gonna sit down, they're gonna write something that's gonna take them into a level of frustration, they're gonna overcome it, and they're gonna be successful, and every girl will be successful at it. And most of our classes are at the Girl Scout Center and are supported by Portland AAUW volunteers. So it's targeted at girls about 10 years old, because the studies show that in middle school is when they make the decision of whether they're kind of person who does technology or not. And this decision is often made with no information at all, but just what society tells them, right? Do they want to do this? And if they shut the door in middle school, then it's harder to get on board later. And we do have a measurement method, pre and post surveys, and we monitor the persistence of the girls in using technology after the class. We also have after-school programs supported by Hillsborough AAUW, and we targeted in Title I schools. And the teens here are highlighted. I have to label them because they don't look remarkably different to my eyes than the 10-year-olds. But part of the program is to hire teen girls to help teach. And this is an important part of the program because these girls are in high school thinking about careers. And Alyssa is one of our superstars. She told me when she was graduating from high school last year that being in the GET program really made her remember how much she liked computing and that she was good at it. And now she's going to OSU and majoring in computing. So there we go. She's also really good with the girls. The 10-year-old girls listen to a high school girl in a way that they don't listen to someone who could be their grandma. This research shows us that teaching others makes you an expert, and that experience helps their self-identity as computer people. So we're targeting lots of 4th and 5th grader girls and a few teenage girls. And then another goal is that every single girl is successful, 100%. And this just takes a lot of people. And this is where partnership with AAUW is critical. So I don't have as many pictures of AAUW volunteers as I do cute girls because they tend to be much more camera shy. But here, this is Ginny. And the AAUW volunteers come in all degrees of competence. Mostly we need people who are willing to praise the girls and maybe take them to the bathroom and take the surveys, keep things under control. But the point is that the girls get a lot of attention, that when they come to a problem, they get help on it. And another point is that they all choose their own projects. So we're not doing one canned thing that we've already done 100 times. Every girl chooses their own program to write. So at the end of the day, I always tell them that no one else has ever written this program. And you can see their pride when they present it to their peers. But that means it's more work. We partner with the Girl Scouts. So one of my goals in setting up a program was that I would love to teach the technology part, but I didn't want to spend all my time recruiting girls and making posters and beating the bushes. So the Girl Scouts are a great partner. They provide the space at the Girl Scout Center, and they advertise on their website and their program 14,000 Girl Scouts in the Oregon, Southwest Washington group. And we have 3-hour classes on the weekend. Then the after-school program runs after school for an hour and a half on the days that they teach a short day, and we come for 4 days. These girls have much less exposure on general to computers than the Girl Scouts do, so we give them twice as much time to reach the same goals. Here's the AAUW provided T-shirts for this group of girls. We didn't let the guy was the principal of the school was only there for the photo. He wasn't allowed in the room for the actual teaching, but the girls just loved him. He must have been a great principal. And here's here's one of our programmers. We called them programmers. We said, you've written a program. We said that word language over and over. And you can see she wrote a program about unicorns, and she wore her unicorn outfit to school. And the act of picking your own, if you like unicorns, you're going to work harder to make your program about dancing unicorns work. than if I told you you had to write a program about rocket ships blowing up other asteroids, right? So we do programming, and then for engineering, we have a class in product design. This is the LED jewelry, and at the end of the class, we go into the bathroom at the Girl Scout Center, and we stand in front of the mirror and take a picture. So you can see the girls with their, again, we have all of the materials, and we have a lot of helpers. These ones require some sewing and some gluing and all kinds of craft skills. And at the end, everyone has their own created LED wearable. These are electronic wearables. So first we build simple circuits, and then they design and create their own product. They're very, very creative. We get a lot of headbands, a lot of wristbands. This is one of the high school students who she started out as a volunteering for the programming class, but she really liked the actual circuitry better, and she'd never done it before. But then she was in her physics class for high school, and she made this board. Apparently there's some TV show that uses a board like this to where you turn on different lights to communicate between dimensions or something. Anyway, she built this board with all these circuits and all the batteries back behind it, and the 10-year-olds just loved it. She brought it to every single class to show the girls what she did with her spare time. And then this year we introduced a new class in robots, which was really exciting for the girls. These little round robots down here are programmed on small tablets, and they look like toys, but they're very sophisticated. Actually, they have gyroscopes inside, and you program the speed and the direction that they roll, and the lights and the sounds. They make a lot of sounds, and you can, and so then we give them goals. The current goal is that they have to make their robot visit each of the continents that are placed around the room, and receive a stamp on their passport for when they do so. If they get done with the round the world tour, then we do bowling with robots, and we sometimes build ramps and make the robots go up the ramps and down the ramps. And at the end, we put them in the middle, and everyone's robot has to turn green and jump while sounding like a frog, which is a very exciting way to end a class. So then one interesting, we do pre and post surveys to see, is this working? We can tell the girls are having fun. And one interesting thing is you can cut me off at any time. I'm not watching the time. I've said what has to be said. So we ask them questions before the class and after the class, and these are the responses in green of positive responses. So this one is, I have written a computer program before the class. After the class, we hope it's 100%, although we do have some that are 98 or 96%. And every now and then a girl has a stomach ache or doesn't want to be there and just doesn't get it done. But when we started, the girls at the Girl Scout Center, 14% of them had written a program, and now about 60%. So that shows real progress for everyone. And then we asked them the question, I am good at solving problems. And this is the pre-yes answer and the post-yes answer. Very, very proud of this, because that is what programming and engineering is. You try something and it doesn't work, and you try it again and you try it again, and then you make it work. So whether or not they become engineers, if they think they're good at solving problems, that's a good place to be. And the robot class blew us. This is, I am the kind of person who could be an engineer. And this is the highest I've ever seen this. The product design class was not this successful. And the 94% of those little girls, after they'd made their robot roll around the room and jump like a frog, thought, hey, I could do this. So that's good. And then we always ask him, you would recommend this class to a friend, and we get very, very positive responses. We don't ask it beforehand, obviously.
That is just, oh, did you want to say one more quick thing?
So we also measure persistence, and we have a couple of quotes. One from the Girl Scout, my friend Mark, he's a boy, said that I couldn't learn Scratch, but I just did. Scratch is a computer programming language. So you can see where some of these girls get some background ideas of maybe that they aren't, that they can't do it. And then one mom said, wow, I had no idea she would be interested in programming. So you can see some of the reasons perhaps that they don't take it up. And over the last 5 years, we have served 1,378 girls, one success at a time. And this program truly is portable, and I would love to bring it to other branches.
Wow. Barbara, thank you so much. And I know that there's a lot more you could tell us about this. I hope you've taken a look at the chat to see the positive response there. But if you, if anybody would like to contact you about sharing with their branch or asking you further questions, would you
put a message?
Put a message on the chat with your contact information. That would be really great.
I would do that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And finally, in our presentations, we have one more. This is the one that I think you could do right now. How do we preserve institutional memory and celebrate the contributions of those who have given so much over so many years to AAUW? Dolores Milarczyk and Gloria Holland of Salem branch asked that question, and they found an inspiring answer. With us this evening is Dolores, who joined AAUW in 1997 when she was YWCA, program director, and realized that AAUW supported the Y's Girls Incorporated STEM mission. She is Salem branch's membership VP, college university representative for Willamette University, a Start Smart, Work Smart trained facilitator, and a past branch president. And Dolores is going to share with us Salem branch's Oral History Project. Dolores, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dolores Milarczyk, and I am a member. I have a membership VP and past president of the Salem branch. Through the AAUW Oral History Project, I am pleased to present our lifetime members of AAUW. I am pleased, These members gave their time and talent to make significant changes in the lives of women and girls and are still felt today. After my presentation, a short video will be shown and a link will be provided to you, compliments of Nancy Brown. We interviewed 9 members of the Salem branch, and here are their names. Joe Bateman, Marion Churchill, Ray Everett, Gloria Martin, Carol Niger, Haroldine Schwartz, Meredy Sheehy, Evelyn Lawrence Smith, and Joanne Stern. Gloria Holland and I started the Oral History Project in 2019, and we completed it in 2020. Gloria Holland did all of the interviews. I coordinated the project and the logistics. And Wendy Brokaw, outreach specialist from CCTV, did all of the videotaping. We thank Capitol Manor, a small retirement home, for allowing us to use their facility for taping. The projects that our members took on were, as legislature chair, Joanne Stern pushed hard for kindergarten in Oregon schools. By 1991, Oregon offered half-day kindergarten. And by 2015, the legislature ordered Oregon schools to offer full-time kindergarten. Another longtime AAUW member, Ray Everett. was extremely instrumental in encouraging legislature to pass Oregon's vote by mail law. Ray says, "I get very excited when the ballots come in," and to this day does voter registration in her apartment complex. Through AAUW, Marion Churchill volunteered at the state penitentiary, where she realized that both men and women needed writing materials and books. When Miriam testified at the legislature, she was rudely rebuffed. But in time, the money for materials was granted. In Salem, we have an annual event called Salem Speaks Up. Haroldine Schwartz believed our citizens should have a yearly event where they could voice their concerns. And Salem Speaks Up has provided a huge citywide platform for nearly 25 years. Gloria Martin, math teacher, worked with Oregon school districts to inform educators about AAUW's research, Gender Gaps, Where the Schools Still Fail Our Children in Public Schools. Other interviewees in Salem Oral History Project were Joe Bateman, Carol Niger, Meredith Sheehy, and Evelyn Lawrence Smith. All of our honored members love being part of our project. And now we will have a short clip for you to enjoy. Thank you.
The American Association of University Women, founded in 1881, advances equity for women and girls through advocacy, education, philanthropy, and research. The Salem branch was founded in Lausanne Hall, Willamette University campus on October 21, 1922. Our oral history project is a record of our lifetime members who worked tirelessly for over 50 years to make women and girls a priority. They kept our branch going and thriving. They came before us and led the way. We are honored to present the stories and reflections of Joanne Stern.
My name is Joanne Vivian Stern, and I was born in Los Angeles, California. I became involved with AAUW in 1967, right after the birth of my first child. We were living in Moses Lake, and there wasn't much going on for women with a college degree except to talk about diapers and formula. I served many functions and roles within AAUW over the years. The one that I enjoyed most was being legislative chair for AAUW. AAUW in Salem had been working to get kindergartens as part of the school system for 58 years. Finally, in 1981, we managed to get a bill approved. The other thing that we've done in the past, but not recently, was a program called Expanding Your Horizons for middle school girls to open their eyes to the wide variety of occupations that are available, especially when you're paying attention to science, technology, engineering, and math, the STEM programs. What I'd like to see happen with AAUW is a continued focus on women's rights, and both in terms of voting, right to choice in one's own body. AAUW has been really important to me in my life. First of all, it taught me leadership skills, and it gave me the confidence to and a feeling of competence to run for school board, to do other leadership positions within AAUW, mainly at the national level. It gave me an avenue for meeting other like-minded women. And in that respect, it has been a very important organization for me.
I hope you enjoyed the clip. And I think Nancy is going to provide you with the link for the whole 9 members that were videotaped.
Okay. Thank you, Dolores. That was really great. A lot of us here know Joanne, and just listening to the things that she has been involved with, the initiatives that she has participated in and worked for is really inspiring. And we have so many of our members who have been with us for a long time who have great stories to share. So, that would be a program that I think would be very worthwhile and would be very motivational for our other branch members who may be newer and don't know a whole lot about the history of our wonderful organization. So
I just want folks to know that clip is short. I just shortened what Joanne's video is. There's a lot. I mean, she explains all those little pieces that I cut out. So
yeah, you can see the jumps. Yeah, great.
There's a question in the chat from Pat Squire, Dolores.
Hi, Pat.
Hi, Dolores. I wanted to know how you got the CCTV to do this.
Well, we just asked, and it just so happened that the director of CCTV wanted to do more oral history projects. And when we approached Wendy Brokaw, and I've worked with Wendy before, she asked her boss, and he said yes. And so we met and worked the king side of things and organized to get the women together at the same time. We had to get the schedules, and so it was a process, and it was a long process, but it all came together. It was really, I'm so pleased.
And you guys were really organized to do this, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, Gloria and I, we kind of split the roles up, and I met with all of the members that were going to speak. So yeah, it took over a year because of the issues. Oh yeah, that's where we started from. We started from using Introduction to Oral History from AAUW. And then from that, we got some ideas. And then from that, we developed our own working schedule. And because the one from AAUW is really detailed, but a lot of good ideas, and it helped a lot for us to figure out. Basically, when I started looking at this program, I actually brought my own camera over to Gloria's house and tried to film her while she was. We did it a couple of times, and I thought, okay, Gloria, once we have something taped, we have to edit this tape. And so I don't have any experience with editing, and so I was going to take a class at CCTV to learn how to edit film because I didn't know what else to do. And so then when we talked to Wendy and she said yes, I thought, phew, I don't have to do any of it now. I just have to get the gals there. So
great job. Great job. That was really interesting.
Yes, it was.
I hope you can watch all of them because they're really beautiful. I mean, they
will. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much. And thanks to all of you who have who have taken the time to put together your presentations. I really could not appreciate it more. I haven't touched on a lot of our terrific branch programs, like Gresham area's wonderful suffrage celebration that they had last February, and Tillamook's fabulous wine and chocolate festival fundraiser, and Hillsborough Forest Grove's Girls Today, and Grants Pass Girls Rock, and Astoria and Seaside's Wings program, and Pendleton's collaborations with Blue Mountain Community College. I mean, we could go on and on. There's a lot of wonderful things happening around our state. It makes me very proud to be a member and to know, you know, what we are doing and how we are impacting our communities and, you know, furthering our mission. So we do the best we can, and our best is really good, I think. I was going to, as I had promised you earlier, I was going to talk about doing a virtual fundraiser, and I'm looking at the time and thinking two things. The first thing is a backup thing, and that is there was a question for Jan about the flooring in the arena that someone had asked, and I think Jan probably might want to answer that. Do you see that question, Jan? The arena footing was covered in plastic. How did that go? That came from Elena.
Okay. Actually, they had that floor covering down the whole summer at the winery, where they had bands and dancing and all sorts of events, and it held up just great. No problems.
Good. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions? Well, thank you. I had promised you that I would talk a bit about virtual fundraising. And because it's a question that a lot of people are asking, how do we do virtual fundraising? We have these programs that we need to implement. We have these scholarships we want to give. How do we get the money? And I have actually this lengthy 2-page set of tips, which could actually be an entire program by itself. And maybe that's something we should think about doing, you know, if there's enough interest later on. But what I did want to say about that is, oh, there we go. Yeah, you've got a speed read because it is 2 pages. But I did want to say that if you are interested in setting up some sort of virtual fundraiser, and there are many, many models, there are many, many platforms that can help you, like Winspire and Donor Perfect, and tomorrow at 6 a.m. even Facebook Fundraising is having a seminar you can go to. There's Flip Cause, there's Mobile Cause, there's Greater Giving. There are all kinds of platforms that can help you set it up if you're not experienced. But I do have this list of tips, and if you are interested in this list, I would be more than happy to email it to you. Just let me know.
Pat, I will have this available as a link that people can get when the video is ready.
Wonderful. That would be great.
And if anybody wants it now, I can certainly put it in chat.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. As I say, there have been questions, and you know, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to know about how this process works. But one thing I did want to tell you is that, you know, people feel very discouraged because, oh, you know, we've always done these fundraisers. What do we do now? We can't do a hoedown, unfortunately. But the statistics are showing that since the pandemic really got going in March, late February, that statistically individual donors are giving 16% less per donation, but total revenue is up 26%. So, you know, think about doing an online virtual, you know, some sort of virtual fundraiser, because they work, and there are lots of ways to do them. There are lots of different variations. One that I would draw your attention to is Lake Oswego Branch's fabulous quilt fundraiser, the suffrage quilt, which many of you have seen. If you go to Lake Oswego's website, you will be really impressed, and you will see how they are doing it. And I will bet, Pat Squire, that your branch is pulling in a lot of donations because of that. It's really well done. So there's a lot of opportunities there. I want to encourage you to think about that. And if you need help, our technology committee will be certainly happy to help you. Contact Georgia. And again, you can have access to this list of tips and know that there are lots of ways that you can be involved. There are even lots of text donation platforms coming out now. I know of 3 right away: Relay, Pagata, and Sonar, if you want donations by text. And people read 90% of texts are open. So that's a really good source. Anyway, I will not belabor the point. You know what I'm saying. So if you want some help with that, we are more than happy to help. And again, I want to thank everyone who has participated this evening. I find all these presentations very stimulating. I'm very proud to see the work that we're doing. And again, I thank you all for your hard work and your efforts and your dedication. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Great segment. It was so wonderful to hear all these different programs that different branches are doing. You know, we can copy things that are appropriate to our branches. So any other questions for Pat or any of the speakers? Great segment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pat?
Yes. Oh, which
Before
Pat?
we go, we could plug the quilt. Actually, the raffle is still open.
Yes.
Yes, and it's only $5 a ticket. If you don't play, you can't win. It's a beautiful handmade quilt that 4 of our members have made, and it commemorates the 100th anniversary of the suffrage, and it's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. It's got depictions of various suffragettes, and then you can go on the website, and there's a back thing where you can just click, and each of them has their own story there and some quotes, and that's just part of the celebration. But that's all out there. If you go to our Facebook page, that's AAUW. Go just put in your browser AAUW Lake Oswego Facebook, and it'll take you where you need to go, and you can actually go see a picture of the quilt. You can also go to the website through that to find, actually sign up and pay online for the quilt raffle, which will be drawn on the 26th of August, which is the date of the actual 19th Amendment going into effect. And then there's other things that we're doing to celebrate the 100th anniversary on the 26th, and some beforehand that are listed in there. And some of it is like Chalk the Vote, which is CHALK. Yes. And Chalk the Vote has to do with writing on your driveway. There you go. Yeah. On your driveway or your sidewalk or somebody else's, information about 100th anniversary, and just really, like giving some praise, shall we say, and celebration, and then taking pictures of the artwork on the sidewalks and sending those in, and we're going to share those online at basically the drawing, and there will be a video, and there's all different kinds of participation. Also in the Rose Garden that's at the Oswego Heritage House in Lake Oswego, there's going to be the cutout characters that the Historical Society from West Lynn has of suffragettes, and those will be on display on Sunday. I'm thinking it's the 23rd from 11 to 4, I believe, and that's also listed in there. And it's free, and you can go and take a look at things there and see those various cut out, they're life-size characters or maybe bigger, and you can read about the different ones. It's not as many as on the quilt, but it'll be a good representation there. So we're trying to do a lot of different things to get the word out that this is the 100th anniversary of the vote for women and what that involved in terms of all the, like 3 generations, 72 years, and the horrible stuff that went on beforehand, like jailing. If you see on the quilt thing, one of them is getting out of jail there. And a lot of people aren't aware of any of the sacrifices. They just know it happened.
Right.
And
it
took years.
Right. Thank you, Karen. When I received my tickets in the mail for the quilt, and the note from Stephanie, I sent her back a message saying, whoever wins this quilt should probably, in my opinion, take a beautiful colored photo of it, very large, have it framed in a gorgeous frame, hang it on their wall, and donate the quilt to probably the Women's History Consortium or somebody who can display it, because it really needs to be shared widely. It's a gorgeous piece of art.
Right now, it's available for viewing in person at the Montavilla Sewing Center in Lake Oswego on First.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to advertise before we go?
You can tell that Karen is our publicist, and she's very good at it. We get a lot of publicity. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. And thank you, Nancy, for showing the quilt. That's lovely. Okay.
Well, I want to say that tomorrow night our session is going to be playing Follow the Leader with our, how do you say that word? Incomparable? Is it incomparable?
Incomparable.
Pat Squire. Incompetent or incomparable, whichever. Which are our fantastic Pat Squire. I'm so excited because she's been so wonderful to work with. I think that she is a fantastic leader and she's got great ideas, not just from AAUW, but from all sorts of other organizations she's worked for and been a part of. So join us tomorrow night about where are we finding more leaders?
Yeah, that's a serious subject, right?
Don't want to miss this one. You don't want to miss this one.
That's right.
Sign me up, Nancy.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good job. Really
all
great.
Right. And thank you all.
Okay. Good night for now.
Organizers. Thank you all.
See you tomorrow.
Yes.
Nighty-night.
Well.
Isn't that what your mother used to say? Nighty-night?
That's right.
Sleep tight. Don't let those bed bugs bite.
All right. Go away.